So many things are going on right now, and I did put on some makeup for you today, so hope you're going to enjoy that. It's hard to do all the things, so all the things did not get done because I'm juggling all of the things today, solo again. But thank you for joining us. I am streaming live to YouTube, I think Facebook, I think Substack, I think also Instagram, and a few other places. Welcome back to Now, No Opportunity Wasted. We have a great interview for you today. Let's see here. Natural Beauty, thank you so much on Instagram. Thank you. Share Consigliere, I think that's how you say the name that you got going on there. So here's the situation. Today, there's just a lot going on, and I guess you're going to get, because we do here, around here, we do, this is live, and I usually part of this is scripted and part of it is live and off the cusp and non-scripted. But there are some things that I'm like kind of preparing in the background to make sure I do have, just to be able to read so that I don't mess up anything, Where is she? Please show me that one. There we go. There it is. All right, great. All right, awesome. Okay, so I got my intro here for today's guest, which is the amazing Ceyenne Doroshow. Baby, she does not hold it back. Ceyenne is, I love the type of girl that Ceyenne is. Ceyenne just keeps it very straight. Doesn't pull any punches. So you're going to get, and it's a little, there's some language in today's episode, just a little bit of language. So for those, hopefully your kids are in bed. It's past 10 o'clock. Hopefully you know where your kids are. I know where mine are. They're non-existent. They're in another plane, in another life with me. But in this lifetime, we're not doing that. I misplaced because there's so much going on right now. There's so much going on because I have been moving and doing some moving. So not everything that I'm looking for is not exactly at my fingertips like I usually like it. I wish it was. Also, just know that not only can I see your text messages, but also if you're interested in, joining me live, you can actually text message me at 1-888-991-2946. And, I might just bring you on screen with me to talk about all of the things. Maybe we're talking about some current events that are happening right now. Maybe there are some burning questions that you have for me and want to ask me because, some of y'all are bold, so we'll see how bold y'all are. I mean, listen, you could pretty much ask me anything as long as you're being respectful. Okay. And I will give you the most respectful answer that I can possibly give you back. So hopefully, you are all tuning in from all of the places, like I always like to start off with a word from Buddhism. I don't have my Buddhism day by day book, but I do have my thing that I sit on my altar. I don't know what we call this, but let me see. Daily Wisdom from the writings of Nichiren Daishonin. Yeah, so Nichiren Daishonin himself, the 12th century priest. So let's see what he says for today. July 26th. Ooh. I frequently am not aware of what day it might be, because I just got so much going on. So I don't know what day is today's Monday. I do know that the date though is July 28th. And for the word for today, it says, quote, Since I have realized that only the Lotus Sutra teaches the attainment of Buddhahood by women, and that only the Lotus Sutra is of true requital for repaying the kindness of our mother, in order to repay my debt to my mother, I have vowed to enable all women to chant the Daimoku of this sutra. And, so for those that know, there are so many different sects of Buddhism, and some sects of Buddhism don't believe that women can attain enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, still adhere to some old social, constructs. Um, and, the way that we explain it in Nichiren Buddhism is like, look, the Buddha in the beginning taught beginner's mind, Zen Buddhism. Then he went on and taught, there was all these different things. And he didn't. Zen Buddhism as a school kind of evolved around the Buddha. So it's, again, just like Jesus. Jesus didn't like come here to start Christianity. He was just teaching, and that, they built that around him. And so, like Zen Buddhism and all these different things, as he traveled throughout his life and as he taught, there was like schools built around these different teachings. And they're all like different rivers, you know what I mean, that lead to a great ocean. So, they call the Mahayana Buddhism the great vehicle, the main vehicle, and that all of these other Buddhisms are kind of like rivers that have a like taste to it. But, there's some things that are missing. And for some of those things, what's missing is that, women, women too, and LGBTQ people, matter of fact, to be specific, trans women, Black trans women can be a Buddha. Black trans women can get enlightenment, attain enlightenment, go to nirvana, all the different things. Black trans women can own their karma in such beautiful ways like I do, So that's why I love this Buddhism, is because it does not prioritize a hierarchy of priests that you have to pay and make them do certain rituals and whatever, and they're supposed to be the mediator, between you and all of the things. They're not going to be the mediator between you and all the things. That you can go straight to the source, and I love something that tells me that I can go straight to the source, and ask questions. If you don't know what's what, like, what does that even mean, child? What is Namyo what? What does that even mean, child? And for those, I'll be rusty on the direct meaning, but it's basically like I devote myself to the mystic law, which it's like this whole, it's like a kind of like a poem, but it's like, through light and sound and all these things. But basically what it says is I devote myself, I align myself with that of the universe, the thing that moves and the impulse of change and everything else. I'm aligning myself with it. I'm not fighting it. I'm aligning myself with it. And so wherever I may go, whatever I'm supposed to face and challenge, whatever life wants me to respond to, I will align to that. And it's kind of the same thing that Christians will say is like, God, where would you have me go? And so it's like when I sit in front of the altar and I'm chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, I'm polishing the mirror so that I can see my life condition so clearly that I'm not afraid of the challenges and the things that come up, but I know that they have been placed there for me specifically because of how strong and how wise, and that I am the person that was born to respond right now to some of these issues. Because sometimes don't nobody else know what to say. If you don't know what to say, honey, pass the mic, because I might know, I might be able to share a few words, maybe, All right, so I am keeping an eye on my text message situation just in case somebody's like texting me and like, hey, hey, Terard, saying reparations focused confections. Oh, that's that is your business that you're starting. Okay, I see it in the text message, baby, but you got to put it on the comments. I think I can put the comments if you comment on YouTube. and maybe on Facebook. I think mostly the YouTube comments. If you're watching on Facebook, I might be able to post your comments, but it's mostly, I think, the YouTube comments that I can post. So join us at youtube.com/Miss Ross. And again, I can send you my live studio link. We can have about 10 people at a time up on here if we want to have a round table of a conversation. But let's keep it cute. Let's keep it respectful and all of the things. So I really don't, have much to bring to you outside of this interview today because a girl is just, I am working my tush off. And all I can tell you is everything is turning around for me finally. And my girl, shout out to one of my producers, Daniela Carter. She sent this gospel song to me, turning around, for me or what have you, and I still listen to gospel music. Even though I'm a Buddhist, I still listen to gospel music. I still like to get me a little Kirk Franklin in there, I love me some Kirk Franklin, but, and Yolanda Adams and the good oldies, the Clock Sisters and things like that. I love me a good gospel. For me, all Buddhism did for me was take God out of the box. I don't have to say specific. It took God out of a box. It just did. And it also helped me to tap into that energy, that source, that greater power that is within me. And again, that's what other people do with their religions, right? So whatever it is that speaks to you, as long as it speaks to you, I'm for it. You know what I'm saying? But if it's making you go against yourself, honey, making you feel like you abomination just for being who you are, baby, no matter who you are, gay, trans, straight, immigrant, whatever, you are worthy. No matter who you are worthy. No matter what you're going through, you are worthy. Whether you're in sex work and doing all kind of things. Buddhism is that thing that if you let it, will help you to turn pain, any kind of pain, into medicine. So, just like the folks say that you should not judge people and not know that what God is doing and working in their lives. You never know what God is doing. So, God may not be done yet in those certain things, or, the story's not done yet. You don't know the blessing that is unfolding and the lesson that is unfolding when someone has to go from the journey from where they're at point A to where they're trying to get at point B. But we judge people all the time for so many reasons that's just so uncalled for. So without judgment, with accountability, but without judgment, with community, but without judgment, I live my life. You know what I'm saying? I voluntarily accept the appropriate karma for my life. Terard says, you are hella glowing. I'm excited about this interview. Thank you very much. I put a little Danessa Myricks on my face today. So I put a little makeup on today, and it was a very, very quick makeup job. So quick that I did not even have the time to put on lashes. So sorry. I know I have broke a cardinal rule. Sorry, I did not put on lashes. Next time. Okay. Next time. All right. So, I think we're going to go ahead and so here's the situation. I want to go ahead and get into this interview, right? But I got to hope and pray because I know what I did last time. That's what I did last time. What I did last time was because that's the thing. I'm trying to share this thing with you, but technology, and that's why I got to create like a SOP, a standard operation. You know what I'm talking about? Standard, you know what I mean? Standard of standard of operations. I think that's what it's called. Systems. That. And so I'm going to put this on my screen behind me really quick. And I am going to go ahead and get her on full screen behind me. And so the way that we're going to hope that this plays out, and y'all going to have to tell me, Terrar, standard operating procedures. Thank you so much. Listen, and thank you, Tim. Thank you so much, Tim, for saying that I don't need lashes. I appreciate it because I do have some naturally long curly lashes. So I just put on a little mascara, smoke the eyes out a little bit. Yeah, no. The camera is not too close. I got it back up a little bit. We're not doing extra HD right now. So we're going to keep you backed up back there right now. So I think what I'm going to do, hopefully this works. I think this is going to work now. I'm going to go to present and I'm going to say shares screen. Okay, 1 second. Some screens let you share audio. Look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. Follow these steps to share video with audio. Okay, please let me do this. So I just did it. And now, I got the tab that says share. Also share tab audio. Please don't make me do this in the tab. So we're going to say screen 2. To share audio, share a tab instead. Girl, I don't want to share a tab. I can't. What you talking about? I don't want to share a tab, but I guess I could. Because I do have it uploaded to YouTube already. So I guess I could share it as a tab. So hold on a second. Ain't this about a technology, child? Okay, so we're going to say youtube.com/Miss Ross. Please let me be logged in. Okay, I see. That is live. Okay, so now let me go to videos. And I'm going to go, I am logged in. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say YouTube Studio. Okay, and I'm going to go to content. And there is the video. It's just not listed. Okay, so now I'm going to take this video. Oh, shoot. So now I'm going to take this video off of my screen and get rid of that one. And now I'm going to take this. I don't hear myself. Oh, my goodness. Why don't I hear myself? Can y'all still hear me? Oh, my goodness. I don't hear myself. Oh, there we go. Oh, because this thing came out a second. I was like, oh, no. Please tell me that technology is not acting up. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to that tab. We're going to quit QuickTime. We're going to go back to the tab. Child. Okay, so the tab that I had open with, here we go. So I'm bring you over here. We're going to select this video here. We're going to go to the video here. Well, I am so honored. Okay, but wait. We're going to pause it. And then we're going to go back to the beginning of it. And we're going to go full screen with it. Okay, so before I go with it, now we're going to go to... Look, Terrar, you are so right. Technology changes every 24 to 36 hours. So you really got to try to keep up on it. So here we go. So I'm going to now go to present and invite, and I'm going to go to share screen. Share screen. Great. So it is now showing it to me as a tab. So cool. Video details. Nope. That's what I want. I want that tab. Share the audio. So I'm sitting share. Okay, great. I think we got it, y'all. So here we go. Here is the video and my recent interview with Ceyenne Doroshow. Now, before we get into that, I just want to read a little bit about Ceyenne, so you can get a little bit of how amazing Ceyenne is. Let me make sure the speed of my teleprompter is not going to hit me with too fast. So I think I usually like it like right there. Okay, here we go. All right, y'all. So today's guest, Ceyenne, is a true powerhouse. She's a voice for the unheard, a disruptor of justice, and a true beacon of radical love and resilience. We are honored to welcome a woman who has not only lived the truth of her story, but she's used her life to change the world. Ceyenne Doroshow is an activist, an author, an entrepreneur, and a proud Black trans woman who has spent decades fighting for the rights, safety, and the dignity of sex workers, incarcerated people, and trans people of color. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Cayenne's early experiences navigating trans identity, poverty, sex work, and the criminal justice system gave her an unshakable understanding of survival and the urgent need for systemic change. But she didn't just stop at surviving, she became a builder. In 2015, Ceyenne founded GLITZ, standing for Gays and Lesbians Living in a Transgender Society, a groundbreaking organization that provides housing, healthcare access, and advocacy for transgender and gender nonconforming people, especially those who have been impacted by incarceration and homelessness. Under Cayenne's leadership, GLITZ made history in 2020 by purchasing 2 permanent housing buildings in New York City, a first of its kind moment in a trans-led community organization. She's also the author of Cooking in Heels, a raw and funny and moving memoir cookbook that blends her life story with the flavors and fire of Cayenne's kitchen. Ceyenne has spoken at the United Nations. She's rallied at Stonewall and continues to advocate fiercely for those who are too often silenced or erased. Through every struggle, Ceyenne brings joy, humor, and unapologetic truth, challenging us to care more, give more, and do better. Please join me in welcoming a revolutionary storyteller and healer and a visionary, a leader, Ceyenne Doroshow. Well, I am so honored to have the Ceyenne Doroshow here now. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
It's so good to see you. You know, I just recently saw you, what was that, a couple of months ago? And I had the privilege of continuing the beautiful story and legacy of our sister, Cecilia Gentili, and her play Red Ink. And I know you were very close to her as well. You showed up. So first of all, just because this is Pride Month and we're celebrating, number one, you and your history and your story and how you've been here, but you've been in relationship with so many community members who have come and who have gone. How do we keep their memories alive?
Oh, that's a hard question, but keeping the memory alive, you know, kind of a dig on the Catholic Church, was having Cecilia's funeral there.
Wow, yes, talk about it.
Iconic. I couldn't care nothing about bothering and disrespecting because we did not. We showed up like they did for Andy Warhol, and I think Scott too. His funeral was there. Mm-hmm. And in high fashion. People showed up.
Yes.
Scandalously clad for Andy Warhol, of course.
Absolutely.
So what was different about a bunch of trans, lesbians, gays, and the whole community showing up like St. Patrick had never been full like that?
Wow.
Showing up in that way for our sister.
Absolutely.
But also having to live in that truth, that moment of when they carried a casket in. Like my heart stopped. But I knew what she looked like inside of there.
Yeah.
And what we poured into her.
Absolutely.
She looked up.
Oh, my goodness. And I will say that, you know, I wasn't able to make it to New York at that time, but thankfully, like just watching the outpouring of love to me, you know, that felt like the fictional depiction sort of with Candy's funeral about how people showed up.
Yes.
And to know that she was also a part of that Poe's legacy, you know, was amazing. So just thank you for always showing up for the girls, for always keeping their memory alive and showing up for her story when I did Red Ink. You founded a space and an organization when there was nothing like it around that centered our dignity, at being able to access housing. What gave you the impetus to sort of start something that wasn't there before? And also, where did you find the audacity to create something like that out of nothing?
I always believed when I worked for other people that I wasn't being heard or seen. And that's kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm.
When you're pouring so much into community, I worked for all these orgs for years and still didn't feel seen.
Yeah.
I remember going to the morgue for a young girl that was killed, a sex worker, and how she was treated, how I was treated, how her body was treated. But also my boss said I overstepped my boundary by going to make sure that that girl got home, that she got to go on the way home service. And I looked at that lady when she said it to me because, sweetie, it's my job to make sure these kids get to where they need to be. And it wore heavy on me. And after 7 years of not taking a vacation, working 7 days a week, I realized I wasn't valued.
Huh.
So I quit.
Yeah.
And then I worked for
this
another
story.
woman. Mm-hmm. And the other woman for another organization, Red Umbrella. This shiesty woman, oh, I can say it.
Yeah.
This shiesty woman put her pasty face on the back of my cookbook, took all the trips to Europe and Spain and Germany for my book, and sent me to the local stuff here. So when I started traveling the world, people were bringing me my book, signed by her. Well, when did this happen? And matter of fact, she's at the same conference I'm at. Let me go bring this to her.
This is a book you wrote?
My cookbook.
Your
my
cookbook.
Memoir,
what did this, Harper, who this woman? Who is the woman? Who is she to the project?
She was, well, first of all, they knew a niche market. I had just got out of jail in, I think, 2002. For sex work.
Mm-hmm.
I had.
How long were you in?
Oh, child, 30 days. Oh, that's long enough to change your life.
Oh, listen.
I think.
I don't want to find out, but I heard.
30 days shook me and rocked me to my core. So while I was in there, I was starving. And I used just my mind to help them figure out how to make meals out of the crap they were giving them in jail. So I was actually coming up with recipes so they could cook for themselves. And I just started writing down everything I wanted to eat when I got out. And my lawyers came to see me. They were worried about me, so they came to see me. And they were like, what is that folder? And it said, everything I want to eat when I get home. And she said, give me the folder. And she handed the folder to that woman. And that woman, you said it, Harpo. Who that woman? You said it right off the back. Because that woman not only scandal here.
Yeah.
She married a award-winning filmmaker after 6 months of knowing him.
Okay.
Keyword, an award-winning filmmaker that she found online, married him, had him create a Red Umbrella movie, and he did. She got that money from New York City Women's Foundation. Wait for it. Right after the movie was finished, he's a violent man and I want out of it. Because she never wanted that man. She used that man like she used me. Got a divorce, told the world that this poor man, 4 Tony Awards, 4 for filmmaking.
But you know what? You know why this happens?
When a white woman cried.
And when they recognize that somebody's coming from a position that they don't have anyone to protect them and their value that they're bringing. And we are in such a world where, like Sinners, movies like Sinners and things like that have pointed out at how much white supremacy wants to take and co-opt our rhythm, but they don't want none of our blues. They don't want to experience that. And so I'm sorry that something like that happened.
I'm not. I think.
Why not? I
learned a lesson. I learned how to inspire myself to do this work myself.
Yeah.
I could design it myself. She was very right. That's below my pay grade. Mm-hmm. So I turned it up.
So you turned it up.
By creating my own. I said to everybody, if I ever had the chance, I was doing this with nothing, bringing people in.
Hold on. Now let's talk about that for a second. Because you have been around a while and you, like you said, before there was glitz, there was just Ceyenne and your house.
Yeah.
I think you might have had to learn a couple lessons with the girls in your own space. How did you How do you serve before you have a building? Because now, oh my goodness, you made history getting a building for the girls. But like before, Glitz had a building and it was just you doing this. How did you balance the difficulty and the challenge of bringing someone off the street into a home where they can mess up what you got going on and now you can't help nobody?
I was smart with purchasing. Not purchasing, renting my home. I never wanted to live in an apartment after being in a box. I've always rented a house, and I paid flat out.
Yeah.
Because for like 5 years.
Wow.
So I secured my house, that house, where the clients were coming, and I didn't have to worry about the rent. What I didn't see was the harm that was going to come my way once I brought these people home. When I got them off the plane from Uganda and Kenya, some of them were not too nice. And some of them tried to assault me, tried to assault my roommate who I let live with me. Some of them were actually not trans women. They were actually gay men that used being trans
to get them the opportunity.
Got in my house and flipped it right in my face.
Wow.
I am not trans and you people are clowns.
So how did you start to like create a filter or some kind of screening process?
I slowed down. My brother Sid and Rio from Body Hack said, you cannot do this. This is not sustainable. They're going to kill you in your home.
Yes.
And I had to listen to that because at that moment, my life was in jeopardy. The whole time my life was in jeopardy because you're bringing people into your world. So you're balancing helping people in society and you're balancing your home, your actual home. It was a bad recipe. So, I said if I ever had the opportunity, instead of doing like most of the agencies in New York City screwing people over, I took the access we got from the Trans Liberation March and I immediately, quickly, my lawyers were upset with me, put all that money into that building for community. I could have donated it to DCRAM. I could have done this, and that. But I promised that I would buy a building for community. That's the thing to do when you're Black and you're trans. And you're
that's no easy feat, though.
No.
And keeping a building and managing a building and doing all
the hard part.
That comes with some things, right?
Taxes.
So, but right. But how do you then, because I think the model for many Black women, cis or trans, has been making $1 out of 15 cents, has been, helping when you barely have things and helping certain things. And as trans women, I still see, as I'm trying to help folks come out the gate with this heart to want to serve community, and they are still in the thick of their own struggle and trauma. What advice can you give to those who have the heart to serve but haven't realized yet that you need to serve yourself first?
They say, put on an oxygen mask before you put it on your child. Save yourself first. Unfortunately, the trauma our community has been, they literally built it for us to live in trauma. We have had to navigate muddy, murky, nasty waters to be who we are today. I stand up on truth, spirit, not so much religion. Spirit keeps me grounded.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because for me, thankfully, I found Buddhism, as my spiritual practice. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That's right. I found Buddhism as my spiritual practice, but something I realized because I was born in and raised in a Pentecostal church. So I kind of saw things early on in the, yes, child, it's a show.
It's a show.
Running around, it's a show. But basically I grew up and I realized right away there's a difference between religion and spirituality. And that you can have both. But sometimes people get lost in the performance of religion.
And it's a performance.
Yes, and are losing out on the spirituality. As a Black trans woman, how did you find spirituality for yourself?
I had to center myself. My great-grandfather was a bishop, and the man never raised his voice. Everything I faced at home rocked my core about religion. Because how could I live in this glass house and nobody's watching what's happening? I was at home. I was more at home than I was in church, more than the streets, more from school. It was at home. So, and my centering became my boots and on, became my cousin Kathy was like, you need to chant. And you're not chanting for religion, you're chanting for yourself. You're chanting to breathe. As soon as you walk on my porch, in my house, you look to the left, there's a boots and on the wall. And my cousin made it. And she mailed it all the way.
You were telling me about this maybe the last time we were together.
When we were at dinner.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And I just have to say, as a trans person, because I've said this, people have heard me talk about this all the time. I know that I have a body. And as a body, we need to have a relationship that checks in on the health of my body. I have my mind, and I need some sort of relationships or methodology to check in on the health of my mind. But so many times people miss on that spiritual part
that you need.
What has chanting the space, creating the spiritual space as a trans woman, what does it mean to you to have that space when you're hearing so much stuff around abomination, this and going to hell here? What does it mean to you to have found a place that speaks to you spiritually?
Me and my kids, we are coming up. There's so many things that go on in this brain here.
This one too.
And I want to protect community, but I want community to have the spirituality and the church they seek.
Yes.
And we're about to create the Church of Affirmation.
You better. You heard it right here now on No Opportunity Wasted.
It makes sense. It makes sense that we have a gender affirming church that belongs to us, for us, by us.
Absolutely.
Led by us. It just, when I got the building, I cried when we first got it and I went in there, but I went in there and wanted to knock stuff down and fix stuff. And I wanted everybody's house to have a gold ceiling, everybody's apartment, because that's healing. I want everybody to have a chandelier because girls deserve a chandelier.
Oh, glitz.
And it's glitz. And it just was the earmark for me how I had grown to be able to do this for a community. But then you got to think of all the bells and whistles that really makes a trans girl unsafe in America.
Yeah.
So I bought a building in a nice neighborhood.
But you are working, you're doing work with a population, as you've described in the beginning stages of that. That's not the easiest to work with. How do you create a standard and a boundary for entry while also recognizing the people who aren't there yet? Is there, are there people that come to your door that aren't ready yet? And what do you say to the person that's just no?
No, there are places out here. They got GMHC. They got Destination Tomorrow. These are wonderful organizations.
Yes.
Go to them.
Got you.
This is for the girl and the guy that really wants their life to be together.
Yes.
There's no middle barrier here. I have boundaries.
Yes.
And I have contracts. I want you to dedicate your life to changing your life. You're not doing it for me.
Absolutely.
You're doing it so you can have sustainability and move on. But creating this, you know how hard it is for a trans person to pick up every year, every 2 years and move because their lease is up?
Yeah.
So buying a building, they never have to leave, and buy another building and more. We're about to open 34 studios in Bay Ridge.
Okay, so wait.
Kitchenettes.
That's for 34 studio apartments. Yeah. So I want to be clear about this when I say this, because just because you are sitting here looking so fabulous, just because the things you are talking about are so fabulous, doesn't mean you don't still need help to do it. How can folks out here watching help the mission that you are working on?
We have some wonderful volunteers. Cheer New York stepped up, the Poetry Brothel, Decrim, but so many other people, the Attorney General, Letitia James, Donovan Richards, are people I can call when I got a problem. Because I have problems. There's a councilwoman with I won't say her name because we're on camera, but it, it's the woman's part up here. That's her name. And she's a hot mess, and she's transphobic, and she's caused me a lot of money, at least $90,000. That's big. But she's still in office, and she's still trying to take away our freedoms, our space on Jacob Reese Beach, that we're also turning into a landmark and land trust.
Yes.
And doing all of this is to sustain our community. I'm doing this because I was that kid that was homeless on that beach, and those sissies and the gays fed me. They gave me blankets because they knew I was out there sleeping. They looked after me. If I go to Fire Island tomorrow, I won't get no less a towel. If I go to Stonewall, they won't even give me a cup of coffee. But once a year, you can be gay, you can be in Stonewall, and you can be black. But you can't have sustainability in July. So how does that work? So when I look at this body of work and I see people that come to me and say, Miss Ceyenne, I need your help. I said, baby, you better think about that. Because if you're not ready if you can't read the application, this is not for you.
It's such a point. It's such a point. And I'm so thankful and grateful for you and the work that you have done. And just as you spoke about like the difference of going to Fire Island or these different places where you've got the dinks, double income, no kids.
Ooh, yes.
But it's going to trips and all these different things, let alone to like supporting community. I want to ask you, as someone who has seen pride shift from year to year, the focus of pride, and seeing these corporations roll back their monies to supporting the pride. To me, what is your perspective on the evolving that has happened from the times of Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson till now? Have we fully progressed? Are we starting to regress at all? Do we need to check in?
If we progress, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera would still be here. In their later, greater years, they would still be here. If those Stonewall quiz really cared about them, Marsha would be living. But let's look at all the films and all the people that wrote about Marsha P. Johnson that don't even know she is a living daughter. Her daughter's living. But didn't invest in that. If we're going to 2021, they asked me to be Grand Marshal.
Yes.
And there was this complete batshit crazy girl who threatened me, called me in the middle of the night. I told Stonewall, do your homework. I need to find out if she's really related to Sylvia. And if she's not, I'll be Grand Marshal. I was Grand Marshal that year. That means they couldn't find the documents they were looking for to say that that was her child. Otherwise, I would have stepped down. I don't want to be a part of anything that does not look like we can grow. Towards the end of
it's called integrity, but yes.
Yeah, integrity, definitely. At the end of the parade, almost the end, this young woman commented she was going to spit on me.
And this was the one that was claiming that she was Marsha's child?
Oh, no.
Sylvia's child, yeah.
And I thought, well, how ridiculous is this? First of all, this is on television. It's all over the internet. But then I had people that watch this shit calling me leaders, saying, leave my daughter alone. So there's a problem with Stonewall, I think. Because if you're giving out bricks, you need to know that brick should be crystal and not a goddamn brick. Artisan, I don't care. It's a brick. And look up the meaning of a brick in our community, you fools. So the white queer.
Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. Anybody hand me a brick, bitch, you better run.
It's important.
Because let me tell you something. I'm not a brick.
It's important.
No.
So, I wrote them immediately. I would suggest that y'all get this in crystal. Nasaka, you pick it. Brass, it could still be a brick. Swarovski, it could still be a brick. But a brick, an artisan brick, you faggots done lost your mind. Excuse me, y'all. But y'all done lost
We're in community.
Mind.
But
how do you
one
do that?
thing I saw on the internet, I don't know who did it, but they just did it for themselves, just for themselves. They made a brick into a purse. Now, mind you, it don't open. It don't do nothing.
You know where my
But
brick is?
but you know what? I actually want to make a brick that can just sit on my shoulder.
My brick is right behind the door because if anybody comes to my house that's unwarranted brick,
Got you. You know how to protect yourself.
also a door stopper. But why? Why would I ever think that that's beguiling or cute? That's not an award. An award for my community,
Absolutely.
for me, for my work,
Yeah.
is a check.
Okay.
Blow smoke up my ass.
Absolutely. No.
I don't need an award.
Are they still giving the girls exposure for to pay groceries with? Because
No.
when
They never really did it.
when it comes to the pride celebrations where they have all these corporate people, they have all these
But you're starving all day. That I would have to go to a trans march, a gay march, a pride march, and feed people. My black ass has to feed people because y'all don't come with all the money that goes into corporate pride. Y'all have not thought to make food for free.
For community,
Water
exact.
for free.
Oh my goodness.
Shade umbrellas for old people. Try that. Or better yet, don't charge people to be in that faggot ass parade. Try that.
Try that part. Yes, because you're taking money from the community.
From the poor.
Yes.
Because them little bougie punks, they going to be all right. They going to be in Fire Island shaking their little Speedos. But the reality is we're dying on this side.
Absolutely.
So how do we protect the integrity of who we are when you only tokenize us 1 month a year?
You know, I really love what you said when you're pointing out the fact that, money and all these attention is going elsewhere, but feeding the community, taking those resources and feeding the community and actually addressing the challenges we are facing right now. Right now, we are up against an onslaught of bills that are trying to criminalize just being trans, like Bill 3381 in Texas. And I hear that you were coming up with a solution to sort of combat this in Rikers Island. Can you tell everybody about that and how we can support what you're doing so that we can fight this?
So in 2021, we went to Rikers Island, me and a group of people, one from Queer Art. I got everybody because they had a whole rally outside of jail for a girl that basically they murdered her.
Yes, I think I remember.
Layleen Polanco.
I remember Layleen Polanco. So yes.
The name of my program is the Layleen Polanco Reentry Program. And we go once a month, and I go with all the bells and whistles. People that have linkages to attorneys, so the attorneys get a shout out from us. We want to know about the case. We want to follow them now. So there's a plan for them to get out. Mm-hmm. All these reentry programs in New York City that's getting billions and billions of dollars. Investors take your money back. Here is a poor black trans woman that is going to the jail with resources on how you do this.
Yes.
And that work doesn't happen when they get out. That work starts right there while they're in there. So they come home to resources.
Yes.
They actually have the stack of resources waiting for them. And then we do a volunteer-based buddy program. So when they do get out, they have buddies to follow them for a year. That's how you make sure they don't stray, they don't fall to the left. I'm not raising crackheads, dopeheads, and meth heads. I'm raising better human beings that happen to be trans, that happen to look like me, that happen to look like you, that happen to look like these young men in here.
Absolutely.
We cannot let anybody fail. So by me, again, another black trans woman, why at the head of everything, when the bills are trying to take us down, there's a trans woman behind every movement that has been.
Talk about
why is that? Because we see things they don't. Maybe it's something in our gender butterflies, but it's something that keeps us focused on changing the world, to make it brighter. I've had to live in integrity my whole life. Please tell me why I gotta live in my adult life. Why wouldn't I create in the name of Layleen Polanco? That baby, if they would have listened to the doctors that said don't isolate her, she'd still be here today. But she's gone. She's gone, and her family won't have her. Her sisters and brothers won't have her.
Right.
But we have her memory to change other lives in Rikers Island. That's what I got the 34 rooms for, the 34 kitchenettes. I want them to come home. I want to bail out.
So you are creating a place that when they come out, They have somewhere to go,
someplace to go,
and they'll have some resources to look
and they
to.
got to go to school,
And they have to go. That's a part of the agreement. They got to go to school.
If you don't want,
let me tell you,
stay away.
Ceyenne, thank you so much for making the most out of the opportunities. That's what this podcast is about. Not wasting a single opportunity. As you talk about, our community that has gotten wrapped up in drugs and doing other things, to remind ourselves that there are people with the range and the capacity to deal with folks at every different level. And baby, if you don't got the range, do what you got the range to do, but it's okay to set a
standard.
I love that you are proof that it is okay for us as Black trans women.
Because 3 girls are getting college degrees, masters this year. What we're producing are better people that have an education. That's armor. Because I asked you to invest in yourself. That college degree is armor. And I want you to go back after you get that first one. Ooh, and taste that second one.
Ooh.
And then get that third one. Because at the end of the day, we need you to do this for us. My old behind can't do this forever. Mm-hmm. Who do I turn this legacy over to?
Right.
This is a legacy project. This ain't
is
like
your legacy.
Housing Works. This ain't all the big agencies. This is a legacy project for me to leave to the other kids that can do this with the same mindset.
But they have to do their work to be ready for this opportunity to come right behind you.
If you'll fail, if you're not doing this authentically, and that's why people are failing.
Absolutely.
People are
see it all the time, left and right.
And they're failing. You went from owning something to now working for somebody. I went from working for somebody, quitting, and doing it on my own because I just didn't see the benefit for my community. If you can only help somebody from 9 to 5, what happens at 6 o'clock when that trans girl is being shot or beat up? What happens at 9 o'clock when she got to hit the stroll and a car hits her or she gets murdered? Who's out there for that? So I do this authentically so we can all have a piece of a legacy. This is all of our legacy.
Absolutely.
To have society and people. This lady wrote me a lot of her grandchildren. All of them put their money together and sent us like $5,000. And I was like, oh my God, these are kids. And they're kids with little tiny little letters. And they were like, thank you. Thank you for what you do. This is what legacy is.
Well, let me say, thank you. Let me say thank you. You are a trailblazer. You have carved your own path. You're showing others what it looks like to just find your way and then be able to give back to others and also set a standard while doing it.
But we stand on the back of our ancestors and my nieces and my daughters and my sons. All of them are keeping me up because I'm old. They're keeping me up and they're keeping me guided and focused. We stand on the backs of people that carved their way into this work.
I'll promise you that I will take these shoes off before I stand on your back, though. Okay, sis? I
might like that.
I absolutely adore you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ceyenne Doroshow. Happy Pride. We celebrate you this Pride season.
I celebrate you every day.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will be right back, y'all. Well. Wow. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Ceyenne is like her name, spicy, honey. She's nice and hot and spicy. Yes, Terrar. Yes, you loved it, Terrar. It was a great conversation. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I did have someone who text messaged me a question while that was playing. We have Tia from Chicago. Hey, Tia. And Tia asked, Tia's a 19-year-old Black trans woman and asked, what are some ways that one can be okay with themselves? How can I be okay with being myself, especially when living among people who are openly against you? And so I asked Tia, to provide just a little bit more detail if she could, so that I could, be as specific as possible with, this advice. And, so she added some clarity in saying that as a Black trans woman at 19 years old, she hasn't started hormones, but she does present as a trans woman and feels very blessed to have a strong mind. Tia says she can read rooms like nobody around her, but that it gets lonely at times, feeling like she can pick apart so many different things about situations that she's in. Tia says, I'm the person that can see things aren't a good idea before it becomes an issue. Many people are not that aware. Tell me about it, sis. She says, it gets difficult for me to navigate. When I hear you speak, I can feel you speak. I know we are alike in the way of being very intellectual, and I feel like I mask my feelings to preserve everyone else's feelings around me. Do you have any advice on navigating life with an intellectual mind without feeling offensive to the world around you? I think I might have the perfect advice for you. Ready for this? All right, so Tia, here's the situation. So, how does one get comfortable with themselves, with being whoever you are, whether you're trans, whether you're LGBTQ, an immigrant, a person, a BIPOC person, Black, Indigenous, person of color, wherever you come from, have disabilities, whatever it is. I think the question is somewhat general in the sense of not only how to be okay with yourself, right? But I learned, I'll speak for my experience for a second here. And also, I want to turn off this AC, child, because give me 2 seconds. I'm chilly. I know I'm gonna pop through this dress. 1 second. Child, just give me. We're gonna turn this off. Ooh, it's cold. Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, so here's the situation, and I'm going to be very, very, just hear me out here. Listen to everything I'm saying here. Okay. There are experts that we call doctors, who are equipped to help you um, have an ongoing conversation with your body so that you know what to do what your body specifically needs in order to be healthy, right? Then we also have experts who, are in the mental health field and who are able to help you um, to have an understanding of your mind, and to also develop practices, whether they be, cognitive practices, or whether it's, a mix of medication. But there is someone to help you to specifically understand your mind. As someone with, ADHD, a little bit on the spectrum or what have you, I can't tell you enough what a blessing it is to finally embrace myself exactly as I am, all of the bells and whistles and kookiness and all of it. And so I mention all those different areas because there's one area that we as trans people typically miss out on, and that is in the spiritual health. So many of us have experienced so much spiritual abuse that comes from religious organization, organized religion. A lot of organized religions have been very abusive towards LGBTQ people and specifically towards trans people. But I want to remind you that just because these people over here don't understand your value doesn't mean it's not there. And what's unfortunate and sad, because those people don't understand your value and have their own definitions around it, so many times we digest and internalize their ideas, and it becomes a poison within us that starts to eat at us and corrode our spirits from the inside out. And so there's so many people who don't understand that just like you have a brain and a body, you also have a spirit. And just because this church over here or that place over here, you know, traumatized you with the whole experience and claimed dominion over the whole spiritual world and said they know what's best, that doesn't erase the fact that you still have a battery. Let's say that we are artificial and or technology or something. You still have a battery inside you that can have a full charge or that can have a low charge, that can have a positive or a negative charge. And unfortunately, so many of us have been pushed out of all of these places that give us some kind of roadmap, some kind of method to help us increase that energy, to make it more positive than negative, so that our spirit serves us and serves the purpose that we're here to do. So I'll tell you this right now, if you don't have a spiritual practice right now, that is the number one thing that you can do to be okay with yourself. It's not about believing in God. If that's what you do, cool. I'm a Buddhist. We don't do that. I don't, it might be God, I just don't use that name. You understand what I'm saying? But so much of the power is the same. We all point to the same sources. So with so many different language, so many different people around the world, you need to find a spiritual practice that works for you. You have to. Or else what I can say at the very least is our spirits are such ethereal and sensitive being spaces that when you encounter other spirits, other energy, you can sometimes take on their energy. If you don't have spiritual defenses, if you don't have certain things that help you put a protection around you, again, Christianity, they know about that protection, right? Y'all talk about protection. My protection is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And the reason why I say you need to have this, you must have something that speaks to you specifically. And this is why I think that Nichiren Buddhism is the perfect spiritual practice for LGBTQ people, especially for trans people. In a general sense, most Buddhist practice believe in reincarnation, the cyclical nature of birth, aging, sickness, and death. A cycle. Birth, aging, sickness, and death. We just experience it over and over again. I'm holding up this book, Unlocking the Mysteries of Birth and Death. This is an OG real book. This book will blow you away. But to understand the cyclical nature is then to understand that as Nichiren Buddhists, we believe that we're not practicing so that we can finally get off the wheel and be done with that, girl. I don't want to come back. No. As Nichiren Buddhists, we say, girl, ooh, that ride was fun. That was a little bit scary. That drop was, but I want to get back on. And this time, can I do it as a paraplegic? Can I do it as an immigrant? Can I do it as a trans person? Can I do it as a person with as bipolar? Because what I want to do as a Buddhist person, I want to show people that no matter what you have, who you are, that you are valuable and that you can create a valuable life and contribute to our society in meaningful ways. And then you get born into this world again, and the process is a lot. Going through that, it's a lot. And you kind of forget some things. So the spiritual practice, all these spiritual practice help remind us of those things. It's what they say that when you hear the truth and know, to be able to hear the truth and know that it's real, so what I can tell you is this: how I'm okay with myself is because this Buddhist practice teaches me that before I was born, it's a little wonky, you don't got to believe it, but listen, before I was born, I was sitting up there and I said, okay, I'm coming back as a Black trans woman, and I'm going to show the world love and compassion and beauty and art and music and whatever. And I think I'm going to show that, right? And then I get hit with all these challenges. My mama not accepting me. I get kicked out of this and blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought I came to do all this stuff. And it's that journey to get back on track, to know that you were uniquely made. You are Tia. There's nothing about whether you are on hormones or not. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter. What I want you to know is that you were made to be specifically you. And this is the kind of choose your own adventure. You get to choose your own adventure at every single moment. No opportunity wasted. And how you not waste these opportunities in your life is you learn how to take responsibility for your life. And you take responsibility for your life by learning how to respond. Don't run away. We're done running away. We're done cowering down. Stand tall. Speak up. But what you want to do is always keep yourself safe, right? Buddhism is reason. So with Buddhism and reason, how you apply the practice of Buddhism in a rational and reasonable way is that you apply the concept of time and capacity. Two things. I talk about this a lot on here. And what this means is, okay, time, right now. Right now, do I have the time to fully go into this? Do they have the time? I'm a little bit over time right now. I may not have the time to fully go into more. So I'm going to give exactly what I have in this bit of time that I have left. And then capacity says, you know what? I might not be in a safe place right now to disclose that I'm trans, to say the full this or free, Palestine, or do certain things. That might not be the safe thing to do in that moment. So what I do is I take responsibility by having the ability to respond right now. No opportunity wasted. So no, don't be silent. No, don't run away. But you learn through your Buddhist practice how to take the temperature. And then you know exactly. Or, you cooking something. Stick your finger in it. Oh, it needs a little bit of this. And so understand your capacity at that moment. You may have tons of energy. You just exercise. You ready? Oh, girl, I got time today. You want to do this? I got time today. And I got the capacity. And the people I'm talking to have the capacity. But sometimes you don't have the time or you don't have the capacity. So the reason why I love Buddhism so much is because it's centered on being a practice. Not perfection, practice. That means you're going to have some times when you're not going to do the best, right? Practice and give yourself the grace. When you do that, when you learn to start doing these things, what people think, other people think, even what you think about yourself sometimes starts to become irrelevant if it's not valuable, if it's not fruitful. So I hope some of that helps you to, and again, there's a Buddhist center in Chicago. I got friends in Chicago that go to the Buddhist center. Shout out to the SGI Center in the West Loop. I think they're in the West Loop down there, in the South Loop or the West Loop. I think it's the South Loop. The West Loop. I can't remember. But I love that SGI Center. We have Courageous Freedom, which is the LGBT group within the Buddhist organization. We have groups that are specific for artists and seniors and veterans and all kind of stuff. So it's a place for everybody. But know that, just like in Christianity, it talks about the lilies of the field, see how they grow and don't toil and all these type of things. They're not worried about how they're perceived. They just grow. So I want you to be able to look at part of being trans is a spiritual, I believe that whether people know it or not, it is a spiritual journey because you are trying to get people, the world, to see you from the inside out, from what you've always known to what you've learned to manifest. And I want you to not feel less than if you don't have access and the money to access surgeries and this and that and the third. It will come. The thing that is most important is that you learn to love yourself right now. Know that you are a seed. So sure, as trans women, we're a seed of a beautiful flower, right? That takes time to blossom. Don't rush it. Don't get too, impatient and get that silicone and them extra things in your body. We know better now. So we're going to do better now. And you will blossom into the most beautiful version of you. You'll get to decide where on the spectrum of gender you want to reside. That's up to you and nobody else. And when it comes to your people that you choose to love you, however, whether you have surgery or you don't, understand that your body is a temple and a place that you invite folks to be in communion with you, to worship the temple that is your body, to respect it, to love it. And if they can't do that, they're not welcome. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that makes sense. And Teresa, you better talk to now. You got me screaming at this TV. A call and response coaching revival. Say that, mother. Yes. Yeah, sometimes I'll take y'all to church. It's gonna be a Buddhist one, but listen. All I'm gonna tell you is this: ain't nothing ever gonna come out my mouth that is going to be in opposition to faith itself. Whatever that is. It might be in opposition to some political beliefs, some social constructs, right? But at the heart of religion, the heart of what it is to serve, it be a tool of something to serve your spirit, not to serve a church, not to serve an organization, not to serve man. In Buddhism, we practice for ourselves and for other people. And how we practice for other people is not about preaching to other people and saving them and telling them what's wrong with their lives. It's by showing them what this thing do. I'm going to show you with my real life. I don't got to convince you of nothing. I'm living my life. So what I'm going to show you is that life is not perfect. But when you fall, I'm going to show you how to smile even when you're crying, how to experience joy, and how to have absolute happiness instead of relative happiness. Something that's relative, whether your skin is doing good today, whether you have a relationship, whether you got a job, what your bank account balance or your credit score looks like. No matter what, I am full of joy and happiness and peace. I have my moments. I get upset. I have anger. I have things. But what we understand is the mutual possession of the 10 worlds, which means from hell to hunger, to animality, to anger, to humanity, to higher and higher levels. No matter what state I'm in, there's always an opportunity to find my way out, to find my way into a higher space in that moment. Sometimes to do that means taking a nap because you ain't going to get there no other way because your mind is just not trying to do it. You're not trying to hear it. So lay down, girl. Lay down. That's how you win on that moment. That's how you win sometimes is by laying down. And sometimes you win by just making that other choice if you can. to not wallow in pity, to not choose blame, to see compassion, to assume positive intent. All of these different things. Nerd King says, yes, Angelica, my spiritual life is key to guiding my intuition. I don't know how I would manage without it. I feel the exact same way. The exact same way. So I hope you all really enjoyed this conversation that we had tonight. Someone also messaged me asking, will they be renewing Pose for a fourth season? Sweetie, that is done. Pose is done with. If you ain't caught up with the news and all that was going on with that, that is just, there's not going to be another Pose. There are too many factors for that. But who knows what's coming next, you know? Instead of asking for that, what I want to say is support independent creators who are creating things like Noah's Ark, Black queer stories that, aren't necessarily always greenlit by mainstream. I know Ian Patrick Polk has, worked, and I think I said his whole name right, but, has worked really hard, for a very long time, and hasn't had the red carpet thrown out for them. But I will say this, and I'm going to keep reminding us of this very fact. I talk a lot of a big game about certain things, and that's because I have a nasty, nasty faith. Ooh, it's good old nasty faith. And my faith makes me believe that I can move mountains. My faith has shown me that I can move mountains. My faith has shown me that mountain that I see in front of me is not greater than the strength in me and the courage within me. So I want to leave you all with the hope and understanding that, no matter what challenge you're going through, I know that things can be hard. I know, he goes, yeah, you're Kojic in the blow. We say shit like nasty faith, disgustingly potential faith. Yes, exactly. And listen, there's so many things about growing up Kojic, and that gospel choir. Ooh, I love that gospel choir. But, just make sure that you find a spiritual practice that speaks to you, that doesn't put you at oppositions with who you are and your nature. There's so many things in Buddhism, so many great, beautiful gems. So you can learn about the 10 worlds. You can just Google the 10 worlds, Buddhism, and you'll find all kind of information. There's also something called the 10 factors. We have all kind of things, but the 10 factors in Buddhism. And so, I probably can't name all of them right off the top of my head of the 10 factors, but what I can tell you is this. How you get to the place of being good with yourself, of loving everything about you, is that you understand that you are multifaceted. There are multiple factors that play into who you are. There's your appearance, what's on the outside, what can be seen, which can sometimes give away something about our entity, can give you a piece of it. But then the appearance is only the surface. There's also your nature. And when you come to what that factor about nature, what that means is, what is natural? Hold up. Not what them conservatives is talking about. No. When we talk about the natural order, I'm talking about what is natural to you. Like an orchid, like a bird, like a whatever. What's natural for you to do? That's your nature. I'm naturally this feminine and sickening. You know what I'm saying? I'm naturally this way. The makeup and everything is just extra. You know what I'm saying? That's my nature. What you're seeing right now, come across right now, what you've been seeing, whether I have makeup on or not, is my nature. Y'all get to feel my nature. That, with my appearance, starts to give you a clearer picture of who I am. But that's only two factors. There's the appearance, there's the nature, then there's a couple other ones, but we're going to just start with that. We just look, time and capacity, right? I'm not going to go over too much. And that's what I'm going to do, is give you just that little bit of capacity, because I want that to sink in. You are more than just one thing. We are multiple intersections. We are multifaceted people. So let's, this week, take the opportunity to take a closer look at what's on the surface, on the appearance. What is it showing you? To be honest with you, my skin on the surface sometimes shows me that I'm really stressed out. There are people who ask me in these past couple, weeks, they're like, girl, what is going on with your skin? I have a poker face, but baby, like India Ari would say, but it's showing all up on your face, it's going to do what it's going to do. So I couldn't lie to you if I wanted to, that this hurts, that I'm stressed out, that certain things happen, and I have this practice to mitigate those stresses, right? But I'm also human. I'm dealing with some very, very difficult challenges right now, but baby, the way I'm about to win over, the way I am about to slay these challenges, the way my cup is about to runneth over, I'm going to know it was all worth it. Everything I lost will be given back to me. Everything I lost will be returned to me tenfold. Ashe. Ashe. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. No opportunity wasted. Have a great evening. I'll see you all soon.